Appearance on Dion's Daily Dose does not imply endorsement from or by any candidate or guest. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by Dion Bergeron or Dion's Daily Dose are his own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of any guest. Material and information presented is for general information purposes only. The Dion's Daily Dose name in all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owners, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Dion's Daily Dose for Thursday, June 25th, 2020, of course. So I took a few days off because I really want to tell you stuff that is happening, but Saturday, right? Saturday is kind of the big day, the big reveal that everything's going to be put out there. So I will tell you about it Saturday. Until then, we got a couple of interesting things. I can tell you that paperwork has been filed in Indianapolis. There is a caucus coming up. That's about it so far. There are a lot of things going on. I do have some guests that hopefully will be coming on the show. For those of you that expecting Sean Graham to come on. He did have his mom got really sick and he had to rush. She got, I guess, sent to the hospital and it was just really bad. So prayers for him and his mom, but he will be on once he gets all that stuff straight and we'll be able to talk about the Fed, the debt, gold-backed currency, all that stuff. He knows, again, a lot more about finances than I do. So I do have a couple of things to share with you today. First of all, HR 7297. Have any of you looked into this? This is actually, it was just by Adam Schiff on, I believe, Monday. Let's take a look. It was 22nd. Yep. This past Monday. It is so new, as a matter of fact, that text for the bill has not been uploaded to the Congress website. We just have the title. Now, the title itself is kind of sketchy, right? Let me show you what I mean. Hey, Jack, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Let me show you what, Paul, hey, how's it going, man? Let me show you what I mean by kind of sketchy. Let's see here. I think it's this one. Yep, here we go. So at congress.gov, can you see this? Yes, you can. All right, there. HR 7297. Now, the purpose of this bill, as claimed, is to amend Title 18 United States Code to prohibit the use of an armed force under the jurisdiction of the Secretary of a military department as a posse comitatus or otherwise to execute the law and for other purposes. Now, what does this mean? Right? The only thing we have as far as actions go is on the 22nd, it was introduced in the House and then immediately referred to the House Committee on the Judiciary. The Judiciary Committee, right? Now, what is posse comitatus? Well, if you look here, this is an overview of the Posse Comitatus Act. And this appendix provides a broad overview of the Posse Comitatus Act, which restricts the participation of the military in domestic law enforcement activities under many circumstances. So, language. The origins of the Posse Comitatus are to be found in domestic law. Black's Law Dictionary defines the term Posse Comitatus as the power or force of the county, the entire population of a county above the age of 15, which a sheriff may summon to his assistance in certain cases as to aid him in keeping the peace, in pursuing and arresting felons, etc. Lujan, 1997, down at the bottom of the footnotes, notes that the commander of JTF-LA mistakenly believed his activities were subject to posse comitatus restrictions when they were not. The Posse Comitatus Act, 18 U.S. Code, Section 1385, an original intent of which was to end the use of federal troops to police state elections in former Confederate states, prescribes the role of the Army and Air Force in executing civil laws, and states, whoever, except in cases and under circumstances expressly authorized by the Constitution or Act of Congress, willfully uses any part of the Army or the Air Force as a posse comitatus or otherwise to execute the laws shall be fined not more than $10,000 or imprisoned not more than 2 years or both. According to Lujan 97, the Air Force was added to the original language in 1956. Although the Navy and Marine Corps are not included in the Act, they were made subject to it by DoD regulation, 32 CFR Section 2, 1992. Now, there are key exceptions to the Posse Comitatus Act. A summary of key exceptions follows. National forces operating under the state authority of Title 32, which is under state rather than federal service, are exempt from Posse Comitatus Act restrictions. Now, here's the important part. This is, I believe, what all of this is about. A bunch of blah, blah, blah. But here we are. Pursuant to the presidential power to quell domestic violence, federal troops are expressly exempt from the prohibitions of Posse Comitatus Act. And this exemption applies equally to active duty military and federalized National Guard troops. Now it continues. It's basically talking about the war on drugs and how there are exceptions to that. Here's the part that I want you to really, really think about, though, right? Because down here, drug exception, blah, blah, blah. This is, I believe, where it all comes together. Pursuant to the presidential power to quell domestic violence, federal troops are expressly exempt from the prohibitions of Posse Comitatus Act. And this exemption applies equally to active duty, military, and federalized National Guard troops. Now, what does all of this mean? What does it mean? Well, if you look at the language of this bill that was introduced, right? Let's go back to it real quick so you can see. Hey, Doug, good to see you. Sean, thanks for joining us. So let's look at this, right? Let's really, really think about this. They want to amend to prohibit the use of an armed force under the jurisdiction of the Secretary of a military department. What does this mean? I can tell you what I think it means. I can tell you what my interpretation of it is. Well, we have cities all across this country that are being burned to the ground. We have statues being toppled. We have people being assaulted. We have off the charts, right? And we're not talking about protests. We're not talking about unrest. I fully support people's right to protest. I fully support people's right to peaceably assemble. Let's remember that word, peaceably assemble. You have the right to address grievances with your nation, with your local, county, state governments, to tell them, hey, that's enough of this crap. We're done with this, right? We don't want this changed. We want that changed. Hi, Connie. Thanks for joining us. We have a population that is being fueled, right? Being fueled by politicians, by people behind the scenes, by actors and actresses who are offering to pay bail. Now, what this means is if this passes, this means that the President of the United States will not be allowed to use troops to quell unrest. Think about that. Think about the implications of that. Think about what it would mean, right? Look at the CHOP/Chaz zone, right? Imagine if the president was not allowed to send in troops to take that area back. That only the mayor or the governor could make decisions like that. All across the nation, you could have uprisings, you could have riots, you could have people destroying things. I'm not talking about marching. I'm not talking about holding up signs and saying, yo, enough of this, right? We want this address, we want that address. I'm talking about burning buildings, assaulting people, killing people, destroying, toppling statues, and there's nothing that anyone could do. Because we know that the local governments are complicit in this. We know that in many cases they have opened the doors to buildings for these people. They have joined them in many cases in the destruction. I got another thing I want you to take a look at here. Let me see. Let me get to it and let me show you what I am talking about. Where's it at? Where did it go? I thought it was here. Here it is. Yep. Okay. So it is, let's see here. Yes, Connie, you are absolutely right. It is absolutely crazy out there. And Paul, that is possible. I will tell you that I had covered in an earlier segment. Remember Donald Trump during one of the coronavirus press briefings had made the claim that the power of the presidency in times of emergency, right? When emergency declarations were made by, remember, all 50 states, that his power was unprecedented, almost limitless. And so I did a video where true. Turns out actually pretty close. There are a ton of things that just get tossed out the window in cases of state of emergency declaration, and his power is pretty broad. What does this mean, right? This means that there are, let's look at Washington, D.C., for example. We have the mayor of D.C. has essentially tried to evict National Guard troops from hotels, has painted the with defund the police, Black Lives Matter, things like that, and is telling people it's okay to destroy things. Let me show you something. This is from the Washington Free Beacon, right? Wisconsin Dem lawmaker brutally beaten by protesters. Here is the interesting part of this. They just, you have to read this, right? Protesters at the Wisconsin state capitol Tuesday night brutally beat up a gay progressive state senator. He's on their side, who was all he did was take a picture. Tim Carpenter, a 60-year-old Democrat who has served in the state Senate since 2003, was taking a picture of demonstrators in Madison. One of them rushed up to him, grabbed for his phone, and beat him. All I did was stop and take a picture, Carpenter told the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, and the next thing I'm getting 5-6 punches, getting kicked in the head. Carpenter was seen after the beating, stumbling toward the Capitol building where he collapsed. A local reporter called an ambulance, and Carter was later treated by paramedics. He told the Washington Post that he had bruises and sore ribs and possibly a concussion and a broken nose. Quote, "This has got to stop before someone gets killed," Carpenter said. "Sad thing, I'm on their side for peaceful demonstrations. I'm a gay progressive Dem senator, served 36 years in the legislature." He posted a video of the incident Wednesday on Twitter. So this is him, right? They beat him. This is the pic that he took, got assaulted and beat up. So here's the part that I want to really draw your attention to, right? Blah, blah, blah. But look, listen to this. Protesters at the Wisconsin state capitol tore down 2 statues commemorating progressive ideals Tuesday night. The first was Forward, a statue cast by female sculptor Jean Pond Minor in 1893, displaying a female figure as an, quote, allegory of devotion and progress, according to the Wisconsin Historical Society. The second was a statue of the Union Colonel Hans Christian Heg, who fought and died in the Civil War. Protesters decapitated Heg's statue and threw the torso into a nearby lake. So we have people that are destroying statues of progressives now. It's not enough. Cancel culture hasn't just come for the people they disagree with. They don't care anymore. They don't care who's getting destroyed, whose statue it is, what they did. I don't know if you've seen it, but there have been a memorial for I forget the exact name of the regiment, but it was an all black regiment, and they scrawled graffiti all over it, defaced it. What is it going to take? Now, we can read into a whole lot of motive. We can say, oh, they're writing this bill for this or doing that. And maybe that's possible, right? 7297. I'm very interested in the actual text of this bill when it gets uploaded. I will be watching it very closely. Look, timing is everything, right? Timing is everything. We have a population that is actively rioting in many locations across this country. And we have a bill put forward to basically restrict the power to limit that rioting is one way to look at it. Is it the only way? No, not until I see the text of the bill, right? When the text of the bill gets published, I'll revisit it and we'll break it down. But certainly based on the title, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good. The optics are horrible on it. So I'm going to show you this. Biden, right? Good old Joe Gaffe Biden. Holy cow. Here it is. You ready? Biden slammed after wrongly saying we have over 120 million dead from COVID. 120 million. Now, bear in mind, this is not his first time messing up numbers. Certainly messing up words. He said 120 million people had died. Quote, don't have a job. People don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. Biden said Thursday, quote, now we have over 120 million dead from COVID. As of Thursday, there have been more than 122,000, not million, coronavirus deaths in the United States, according to Johns Hopkins figures. While Biden appears to immediately catch himself after his gaffe, the pool video of Biden's comments cuts off after he made the remark. Republicans were quick to jump on the former vice president's comments. What is going on with Joe Biden? Steve Guest, the Republican National Committee's Rapid Response Director, tweeted out with a link to the clip. Let's see here. Let's take a look. Oh.
Now we have over 120 million dead from COVID. Or 100. I mean,
oops. Right? Oops. You can tell that he catches himself right after. But this back to, as a matter of fact, it says it. President Trump's reelection campaign team went after Biden even harder, calling him very confused and dredging up one of Biden's past gaffes when he said that 150 million Americans had died from gun violence since 2007. Right? This is the same thing. Right? Million, thousand. If this guy doesn't know the difference between millions and thousands, should he be the president? Come on. Look, I can give all kinds of other reasons why Joe Biden should not be the president of this nation. This is just one. There are plenty of reasons why this guy scares the. And let's be real with each other. We know that let's assume Joe Biden does continue all the way to November as the presumptive, the nominee, right? He's the nominee. We all know. He continues all the way to November. He's still on the ballot in November. He wins. Let's say it's a record turnout and all these people come out and they vote for Biden, or, you know, the election is, you know, rigged. Let's say Biden wins. However it happens, let's say Biden wins. Do we really think that Biden's going to be the one making the decisions? Let's be frank here, right? Regardless of how you feel about Joe Biden, regardless of if you think he should be president or not, do we really believe that he's going to be the one saying, yes, do this, don't do that? Really? This is, I mean, come on. It's Joe Biden. Whoever his running mate is, whoever he decides to pick for that position, he's going to be, whomever he chooses, they're going to be the president, right? Because Biden, if best case scenario, he makes it to November with his running mate, he wins, he steps down. That's what's going to happen. That's what we know is going to happen. His running mate's going to be running the country. So let's see who that is. I mean, why they haven't actually announced it yet, I wonder. Because we don't know, right? I know that. There are a couple of other really interesting stories going on. If you have not seen, here, let me share you this here. If you have not seen the video from Tim Scott where he addresses the Senate, it is magnificent. It really is. I highly recommend it. As a matter of fact, let me get you. I can't play it because of the. Yeah. Hold on. Yes, we know. Epic Times. Yes, I know. Okay. Let me get you the link for this video for Scott. It is well worth watching. The name of it, Tim Scott makes an epic Senate floor speech on race, policing, Trump, and his own life story. I highly recommend it. Well worth the time. It's a little long, but amazing. And one of the comments that he makes, I think, is really very poignant. And what it is the type of poor that he grew up as. It wasn't, like he was going to starve to death. It wasn't like, there were gangs shooting out the windows. The type of poor that Tim Scott grew up as is that many of us have grown up as. And it was, you weren't sure if you picked up that phone, if there was going to be a dial tone, because you didn't know if your parents had paid the bills. You go to flip on the lights when you get home, right? Is the light going to come on? You're not sure. There's always that doubt. Being poor in America is very different than being poor in other countries, but it still has its own set of problems. It has its own set, and I think he really nails a lot of what is left unsaid. A lot of the divide that goes on, because I'm going to tell you, most of the people that are making decisions in this country have no idea what it's like to not be sure if you go in the fridge, if there's actually anything in there. At the very least, that they can, call and get food delivered, or go to a restaurant and get some food. Right? What if you don't have a credit card? You don't have money in the bank. You go to open your refrigerator and there's, 2 slices of bologna. That's all that's there. I've been there, right? I'm not there now, but I've been there. I've grown up that poor. There have been times when I turned the lights on and nothing happened, right? Those are the vast majority of the people that are making laws in this country, that are making decisions that affect you and me, have no idea what it's like to be you and me. No clue. They don't know what it's like to be stranded on the side of the road when your alternator dies and you're on your way to work, right? You can't just call AAA. You can't just call a tow truck to come out immediately and come get your car and get a loaner and, call your personal assistant to come pick you up. You have to figure that out, right? When you have $5 left and or let's say you got like your last $20, right? You got to put gas in your car to get back and forth to work. You also got to worry about childcare, and you got to feed yourself at work for the next couple of days till the end of the month. These are all things the people that are making decisions for this country have no clue about. So that's why I feel it is critically important to get people into office that do understand that. And I'm not talking about just people that grew up poor, right? It's not just about being poor. Although I do believe that there's something to be said for understanding the difference, right? Between always knowing that you can call mommy and daddy to get bailed out of whatever situation you find yourself in and not having that option. Self-reliance, right? And we see it to a degree, I believe, with many of these rioters and many of the people that, the participation trophy crowd. Give me my way or I will go off. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. So remember, Saturday is the big reveal. I hope all of you will tune in then. About, again, 7:00 should be the time. I have some very interesting and important guests coming up. Just scheduling has been a little crazy. I'm going to finish with this. For those of you that have been paying attention to the Attorney General's race, for those of you that are delegates, we have to think strategically about who we vote for this critically important position. I have spoken to most of, if not all, of the candidates for the Attorney General's race, and I take my vote as a delegate very, very seriously. If you are a delegate, I think you should too. I think you should look at all available information, and I think you should make your decision based on who you believe would be the best, not only the best candidate for Attorney General, but the best chance to win the Attorney General's race in November, because they're not running unopposed, right? Oh, there it is. There's Donovan, just barely off camera. It's a critically important race, and I don't know if you looked into this guy. Weinzapfel is the Democrat running for the AG. He won his delegate vote, right? He's the nominee on the Democrat side. He's pretty far left. So we definitely do not want to take a chance on losing that. I plan on doing another video soon about the breakdown, right? About the breakdown for the Attorney General's race. For those of you who are delegates, I'd like to hear from you, right? I'd like to hear who I'll keep your name. I'll keep your name out of it. Send me here. Let me give you, there's my email. Send me an email. talk@dionbergeron.com and let me know who you voted for and why. I'll be featuring that. I'm trying to get it set up for perhaps Sunday, maybe Monday. We have to get we have to get the ballots turned in very soon, right? I think they got to be received by, I want to say the 9th. I'll look at it. Not voted yet. I have not filled out my ballot yet. I am very, very torn. Let me know as a delegate who you voted for and why. I won't reveal your name if you don't want, but there are a lot of things to consider. There's a lot. Chris says, well, a liberal Democrat in Indiana as an opponent is like running unopposed. Maybe. So listen, I'm going to tell you. Okay. Oh, Shannon has no problem saying it. Todd Rokita. Okay. So I'm going to tell you. I talked to Nate Harder today. I've spoken to Westerkamp. I've spoken to Hill. I haven't had a chance to call Rokita back yet. I just talked to Harder today. There is the belief among the delegates that Curtis Hill will not be able to win in November. My response to that is if we believe that, the negative campaign against Curtis Hill is going to take the election away from him, then do we also believe that there is enough negative on other candidates to take the election away from them? I've read a couple of negative stories about Rokita. Obviously, that's going to get dredged up if he runs, right? Or if he wins the nomination, I should say. Do we gain anything? I will say Rokita, at least the name is very well known. He's got the name recognition. He's won he's won 2 elections. He's been our Secretary of State. People know the name Rokita. Is get into a little more detail on as far as each candidate, maybe some side-by-side comparisons. I don't know. What my goal was to have each candidate on one more time. Westerkamp already was on. I would have liked to have gotten Curtis Hill and Rokita on my show, but they're obviously busy now, calling delegates, trying to sway people. It is what it is, but I would like to do a quick rundown of kind of where I think, but maybe not. We'll see. There's something big. I got like one more day, and then there is Saturday's the big day, and we'll let you know what's going on then. Until then, stay safe out there, and it's a crazy time. It's a crazy time. This House bill that's introduced, I'm going to keep watching it and see as soon as the text comes out. We're going to break it down because it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. Personally, I think it's a way to restrict a way to restrict armed forces and law-abiding citizens from all kinds of things. There are multiple paths here and none of it is a positive. So God bless you and God bless the USA.
If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron. Executive producers, Sean Holgram and Michael Beebe. Copyright 2020. Dion's Daily Dose, all rights reserved.